Hello everyone, I just want to film a quick wrap-up part 1 for April, my OWLS readathons. I did manage to read 16 books so far, and I completed 10 of the 12 OWLS challenges, and I hope to finish the other 2. The first book I finished was The Balancing Balance Stock and Star, and this was for my potions class. And I'm giving this one 3 stars. I thought it was cute. It's a mini book about Brother Balin, and the nostalgia came back. And basically, he tried out for different sports, and he just wasn't tall enough, or he just wasn't good enough. Sorry for my cat. And he finally found that he ends up being kind of a soccer star, but none of his family is in the story. But I still found it enjoyable. And then I read Emmy and Oliver, an audiobook, and that was for the Ancient Runes, and I'm giving this one 4 stars. And in this one, Oliver is kidnapped and he returns to his family, I think it was 7 years later now. And I thought it was going to be a romance story, but it's more about making peace with being kidnapped and the effects of it. And more than that, it's just like a hard-hitting contemporary. And I thought it was really good. I don't know why I waited so long to read it. And then for my off-the-wall pick was Close to Home, and that was for the Kid of Magical Creatures. I'm giving this one 2 stars. It was my first love-inspired book, and I was really disappointed. It was a second chance romance, and I just didn't care for the main characters. There wasn't much of a substance to the plot, or to the whole book. There wasn't much romance. I was just highly disappointed. But it fulfilled the challenge, so I had kept reading. And then I read When We Were Worthy, and that was for the Muggle Studies, and I gave that one 4 stars. This one is a Harlequin contemporary where the 3 cheerleaders die, and then I believe it tells the perspectives from 4 different people about, like, before and after, and, like, what happened. And it deals with grief and trying to move on with life afterwards. I found it really good, and I was intrigued to keep reading. I had to know what happened. And then I read Wondersmith, and I gave that one 3 stars, and that was from the divination class. This is the second book in a series. The first one was Nevermore, so I can't say too much about it. It was okay. I'm not into this whole series as other people are. They keep saying it's like Harry Potter, and to compare that, I go in with high expectations, and this one was good. I'll keep reading, but it's not something I would brag about. And then I read Playboy Pilot, and that was from astronomy, and I gave that one 3 stars. This is a smutty read about this girl goes into the airport, into the barn, and she meets a guy, and she ends up going to the location he suggested, and she finds out that later on that he's a pilot, and he's a bit of a playboy. And it was so. I'm not sure if I'm going to read from these authors again together, but maybe. Just not the best choice for me. And then I read Violent Ends for Chuns, and I gave this one 4 stars. This is written by several different people in 17 points of view, and it's about a school shooting. And I really like how they wrote it from 17 different perspectives, because everyone has their own different version. Things happen differently for each of them. And it was really hard to read. But I've always been interested by school shootings. Even though I feel them depressing, I just have to learn more, and it's weird. So there's that one. And then I read The White Rose and The Black Key, which is the second and third of the Lone City series. The first one was Jewel. This is a dystopian series, and I gave them both 4 stars. I really like the series. I like dystopian. And the Jewel, there is a society where there's syndicates, companions, royalty, and then, like, workers, and it's interesting what happens. Of course, some of it's political, and I just really like them. And I listened to it in audio, The Little Prince, and I gave that one 3 stars. It was so-so, something that's forgettable. I don't see the hype on that. Sorry. Oh, I also forgot to mention, I read We Were Lions, and that was a reread for me, and I gave it 4 stars. It was for Defense Against Dun-Duns. I read this one before and I discovered the booktube, and I wanted to read it again, knowing that I've read several other books. And it's good. I knew what was coming, so I wasn't surprised by the twist at all. And that was about Cadence and the rich family that they go back to the island each summer. If you haven't read it, check it out. It's an easy read. I read Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix for the Transfiguration. This one is a 5 stars, of course. And I did a separate video on it, so I'm not going to talk about it here. Early in the month, I DNF'd 168 hours, and then I read Deep Work in a Distracted World for arithmetic, and I gave this one 3 stars. And it's just basically tips on how to be more focused and stop distracting yourself to be more productive and get better results. And I also read The Map from Here to There by Emery Lord, and this was the sequel to This One to Me and You, and I gave this one 3 stars. And it's a continuation of Paige's story. I can't say more than that without spoiling the first book. And I wanted to know what happened, but it took me a while to get into it, and then the ending just kind of ended abruptly. I didn't expect it to end at that point that it did, because I felt like there was more to the story that needed to be said. And I don't think there's another book coming out from it, but still good. And then I reread Looking for Alaska by John Green. This was another book I discovered before the booktube, and I remember bits and pieces of it, but I wanted to reread it before I got the Netflix series. I think that's what it is. And I'm giving this one 3 stars. I thought I gave it a 4 star before, but upon reread, it's just not my type of story, but I kept reading. John Green is not my type of author. Although I do like Paper Towns and The Fault in the Stars from him. Hopefully I still like them. I will never reread The Fault in the Stars, and I do plan on reading Paper Towns soon. Anyway, in this one, Miles goes to a boarding school, and he becomes friends with his roommates, with Alaska and Takumi, and a death happens, and they're trying to make sense of it after. And I didn't like the choicing of words sometimes. And I'm just realizing, like I said, that John Green does not flesh too well with me. So there you have it. I have read 16 books already. And I hope to finish another 8 or 9. We'll see if that happens. And I have 2 challenges left in the OWLS to complete. How's your reading going? Thanks for watching and have a great day.